Okay, so we'll be discussing activity-based costing class. And in the handout given to you, there are some terminologies there. As always, please take care of the definition of terms. It will be a waste of point if you will get mistakes on these kind of questions. So, cost management systems, basically a collection of tools and techniques that identifies how management's decisions affect costs. So you're given there with three primary purpose class. This could be a source of an MCQ question. Which one is not among the primary purpose? So here is the first one is to aggregate measures of inventory and cost of goods manufactured for external reporting. Number two, for strategic management decisions. And number three, for operational control. So basically three main purpose class: external reporting, strategic management decisions, and operational control. And your cost accounting system is basically just a subset of your cost management system. And we've encountered the terms involved in your cost accounting system class, and these are your cost accumulation and your cost allocation. You accumulate the cost first, then allocate it afterwards. Now, for ABC class or activity-based costing, uh, again, the first thing to do here is to accumulate the cost for each activity and then apply the cost of activities to the products based on your cost driver. So instead of just having one cost pool class, you segregate your costs into different pools that are based on certain activities. So basically, this is different from the traditional class. It's because under traditional, you only have one cost pool. But for your activity-based costing, you will have several cost pools. Here it says that the goal is to trace the cost to products or services instead of arbitrarily allocating them. Here, activity-based accounting or activity-based costing. Again, first, accumulate your overhead cost for each activity and then assign the cost of activities to the product, service, or other cost objects that cost that activity. So the manner of determining your cost drivers class is that they are identified for each activity to establish a cost-effect relationship between an activity and cost object. If you go down on the handout class, you're given there with several reasons as to the shift to activity-based costing class or why companies would adopt activity-based costing. Again, this could be a source for a multiple choice question. And these reasons are fierce competition, business complexity, new production techniques have increased the proportion of indirect costs, sometimes to more than 50% of total cost. Product life cycles are shorter and companies do not have time to make price or cost adjustments once costing errors are discovered. And perhaps the most important class, cost associated with bad decisions based on inaccurate cost determinations are enormous. So basically, the shift to ABC is an attempt to save costs class. Then Roman numeral 4, the steps. Again, this could be a source for a multiple choice question. What are the steps in design and implementation of an ABC system? First is to determine the project scope, cost objectives, key activities, resources, and related cost drivers. Develop a process-based map representing the flow of activities, resources, and their interrelationships. Third, collect relevant data concerning costs and the physical flow of cost driver units among resources and activities. Last would be to interpret the new activity-based information. Let's proceed with the practice questions. Number one, what's the primary purpose of a cost management system? Sorry, the primary purpose of a cost management system do not include what? As what we've mentioned, it's operational control, external reporting, and strategic management decision. External reporting is not there. What represents your external reporting class? It would be your inventory valuation. So the choice there that does not represent the primary purpose of a cost management system is your letter B, cost allocation. Number two, which of the following is not a decision that is strategic in nature? Here, you will just have to answer this based on your common sense. You will have to analyze this question. Which of these choices is not within the control of the company class? Optimal customer mix. Do you have control over your target customer? To some extent, yes. Letter C, outsourcing. Do you have a control as to the decision of whether or not you should undertake outsourcing? Yes. Do you have control over your investment decisions? Yes. But as to feedback class, do you have control over feedback that you will receive? The answer is no. So that definitely is not a strategic decision. So the answer for number two is letter A. Number three, the tracing or reassigning of costs to one or more cost objectives is referred to as your cost allocation. Number three is letter B. Number four, an example of a cost object is all of the following except products, yes. Checks processed, yes. Departments, yes. Cost time will not be cost object class, but this could be your cost driver. So answer for number four is delta. Let's try to answer number 5 and 6. What's the first question? Mario's 2000X product indirect labor was indirect labor. So if we're talking about indirect labor, uh, those that are not directly applied to the product. Machine operators, yes. Factory janitors class, this is indirect. Factory supervisor, uh, would also be part of your indirect cost. So the answer here would be letter B, 70,000. Number 6, Mario's product direct materials cost for 200X were uh, we are producing video games, so computer chips definitely, casings also is direct material, uh, label would be direct material, but glue, although directly applied class, but the manner of allocation would be difficult to account for or to do. So this would be considered as an indirect material. So our answer for number 6 would simply be 600,000. Number 7, which of the following can be variable costs? Variable. Of course, raw materials class tend to be variable, the same as your indirect labor and even your direct labor, and also your factory overhead. Okay? Factory overhead can be variable or fixed. So the best answer here is letter F. Number 8, YIPI is an example of what kind of a company class? Can YIPI company be classified as a manufacturing company? No, because what kind of inventory is maintained? Merchandising. So that means it should also not be a service company because service companies do not have merchandise inventories. So the answer here would be perhaps a wholesale organization, retail. The answer for number 8 would be letter C. Number 9, cost drivers are usually selected based on which criteria? Of course, reasonable cause and effect. And letter A is a good answer, but the best answer here would be letter D, because availability of data is also a consideration, the same as the cost-benefit class. So the answer for number 9 is delta. Number 10, a cost pool is a group of costs that is allocated to cost objectives or cost objects using our answer here would be letter D, only one cost driver. 11, the third step, although this question is very specific already to the handout given to you, class, but just in case you'll encounter this kind of question, what was the third step? If we go back, to the handout, what was number 1? Determine. So this is choice what? Letter C. And then number 2 is develop a process-based map. This would be letter D in the choices. What we're looking for is number 3, collect relevant data concerning costs. So the answer here is letter B. Answer number 11 is letter. Number 12, activity-based costing usually can decrease the number of cost drivers. No. In fact, there will be a lot of cost drivers to allocate our several cost pools in activity-based costing. Reduce the accuracy of cost allocations. Letter C, turn indirect costs into direct costs. Letter D, decrease the amount of money spent on a system. The answer here would be letter C. Number 13, the use of unit-based cost drivers has the following consequences. Simple products are undercosted. The use of unit-based. If it's based on units, complex products are no. So the analysis here, class, is that simple products should have lower cost because they are simpler to produce, while complex products should be more expensive to produce. But if you base it on units, whether it's a simple or a complex product, they will be given the same amount of cost. So if you use a unit-based cost driver, what will happen to your simple products? They would be overcosted because they will have the same, they will be assigned allocated the same cost as your complex products. For your complex products, they would instead be undercosted. So the answer here is letter D, none of the above. Number 14, products might consume different amounts of resources because of, answer here is all of the above. Variations in the number of batches produced, differences in the effort required, differences in the number of engineering changes required. Number 15, which of the following is not a potential benefit of activity-based costing? Not a potential benefit. Elimination of bottlenecks due to downtime on a critical machine. Letter A, class, is a potential benefit because if you use activity-based costing, you will be able to identify this one. Unlike if you only have one cost pool, you will not be able to determine the stages or the parts of your production process wherein you are incurring a lot of unnecessary costs. Letter B, you also tend to eliminate non-value added activity. Letter D, the answer here is letter C, enhanced financial reporting. Letter D can also be potential benefit for activity-based cost. Number 16, the design of an ABC system requires that, Letter A is correct. Resources costs be linked to the activities performed, and that the cost of activities have to be linked to cost objects. So the answer for number 16 is delta. 17, suppose budget capacity for widgets is 800 units. Practical capacity is 1,000 units. Support costs for the period are 16,000. The cost driver rate, how do you find the cost driver rate? Is found by dividing the support cost by budget capacity. No. Is found by dividing support cost by practical capacity. Yes. And it should also reflect the underlying efficiency of the process. That's why you will be using practical capacity. Answer for number 17 would be Charlie. Because if you use budgeted instead of practical class, it's like you are condoning inefficiency class. Okay, so that you would be able to consider the idle capacity, you should include the practical capacity in determining your rate, yeah, cost driver rate. Number 18, true or false, activity-based costing system yields more accurate product cost than conventional cost systems because they use more cost drivers to assign support cost. This would be false class, not necessarily that it would lead to more accurate class. Delta, B and C. Number 19, which of the following statements most accurately explains why selling and administrative costs have been largely ignored under conventional costing systems? Answer for number 19 is Charlie. Selling and administrative costs are not inventoriable. Number 20, which of the following is least likely to be a barrier in uh, activity-based costing implementation? Least likely. Okay, definitely technological advancement class would not be a hindrance to the implementation of ABC implementation. So the answer in number 20 is alpha. B, C, and D are likely barriers to the implementation of activity-based costing. Employees' resistance to change, or the company as a whole, company's resistance to change as a whole, and the lack of commitment by the senior management. 21, organizational resistance to change may arise when ABC models reveal all of the above: unprofitable products, customers, and inefficiencies in operations. Number 22, the goal of a properly constructed ABC system is not letter A class, is not to get the most accurate product costs possible, but for there to be a system that balances the cost of errors in cost of estimation with the cost of measurement. Answer number 22 is Charlie. 23, if products are alike, then for costing purposes, answer here is, since they are just the same, answer is letter A. A simple costing system will yield accurate cost numbers. 24, under costing, a particular product may result in loss of market share, not necessarily. Best answer here for number 24 class is letter B, lower profits. 25, overcosting of a product is most likely to result, letter C, undercosting another product. 26, a company produces 3 products. If one product is overcosted, then what's your answer here, class? If one is overcosted, then one or two products are undercosted. So answer for number 26 is Bravo. Number 24. Plus for your total product cost, it will still be the same, regardless if one is, because the undercosting in one would just be uh, shifted to other products. Uh, so really your choice here would be between B and C. Uh, but the most likely answer here, class, would be you will have lower profits. Why? If you undercost a product, class, then it would lead to another product to be overcosted. And if the product that is overcosted, class, represents a significant portion of your product mix or your sales mix, let's say, for example, you have two products, A and B. A represents 20% only, B represents 80% of your sales, and you overcosted product B, then that means your cost of goods sold would be very high. Unlike if they were properly costed, then the proper margin for both products would be considered in your computation of your profit. But also, the opposite could also be true. Okay, uh, basically, an effect of overcosting or undercosting, class, would be erroneous determination of your profit, class. Okay, but the reason why we can eliminate letter C, class, it's because the process itself may not be inefficient, class, but there is undercosting simply because you have only used a simplified uh, allocation basis. But of course, the total product cost would remain the same. It would have been different if it stated that total cost of goods sold would be understated, and that would have been possible. But as far as product cost lang, class, it would just be the same. 27, misleading cost numbers are most likely the result of misallocating. Answer here would be letter C. Okay, it's the more likely one to be misallocated, class. Answer for 27 is Charlie. 28, an accelerated need for refined cost systems is due to uh, intense competition. Answer for 28 is Charlie. 29, the use of a single indirect cost rate is more likely to single indirect cost rate. Uh, so most likely this would be based on units, class. Uh, answer for number 29 would be Bravo, class. Under cost, low volume, complex products. So for you to imagine this one, class, think of 100 unit production, class. And let's still stick to 80 and 20. 80% represents simple products, 20% represents complex products. And then your total cost is, let's say, 200,000. 200,000 divided by 100. Please help me here. My brain's not working. 200,000 divided by 100. Is that is that 2,000? 2,000. So if you use a single indirect cost rate, let's say, for example, the units, each product would be assigned a cost of 2,000 because the total number of units is 100, even though the complex products is only 20%. So how much would be assigned to your complex products? The same as your simple products. And as what we have established, class, complex products should be more expensive to produce than your simple products. The answer number 29 would be bravo. Number 30, uniformly assigning the costs of resources to cost objects when those resources are actually used in a non-uniform way is called, I'm sure you've heard of this, class, your peanut butter costing. 31, refining a cost system includes letter C, identifying the activities involved in a process. Letter A is incorrect because the goal is not to classify as many costs as indirect costs as possible. Seeking a lesser level of detail. No. Letter B is also not a requirement. So the best answer in number 31 is letter C. Number 32, greater indirect costs are associated with indirect costs. Specialized engineering, yes. Quality specifications and testing, yes. Inventory materials and material control systems. Yes, because our answer is letter D. Answer here is all of the above. So basically, class A, B, and C class are not specific to a particular unit. So it's not a direct cost. Your drawings will apply to everything, the same as your tests and your control systems. 33, design of an ABC system requires, this is one of those enumerated in the handout above, that a cause and effect relationship exists between resource costs and individual activities. Answer is letter B. 34, ABC systems create, letter A is definitely incorrect, class. Letter D is also incorrect. Activity cost pools, that is focused more on specific indirect costs. So the best answer for number 34 is bravo. 35, logical cost allocation bases include, let's see, cubic feet of packages moved to measure distribution activity. Yes. Machine hours to measure setup activity. For setup activity, class, what would be the basis, class? It would be the number of setup. Letter C, direct manufacturing, labor hours to measure designing activity. No, the best for your measuring designing activity should be based on units, class. So the best answer for number 35 would be alpha. 36, ABC systems highlight the different levels of activities. Yes. Limit cost drivers to units of output. No, the opposite is true. C, allocate cost based on the overall level of activity. Again, no. Generally under cost complex products. No, that's what we try to solve in activity-based costing. So the answer number 36 is alpha. 37, a single indirect cost rate may distort product costs because, again, this would be an application of your peanut butter. There is an assumption that all support activities affect all products. Correct. It recognizes specific activities that are required to produce a product. Letter B is incorrect because that is not consistent with a single indirect cost. If you recognize specific activities are required to produce a product, then you should not be using a single indirect cost. Letter C, costs are not consistently recorded. That's an error, class. Letter D, it fails to measure the correct amount of total cost. That again, the total cost will still be the same. Okay, the reason that your single direct cost will distort product cost is because you assume that all support activities affect all products, even though some products may not be receiving certain types of support activities. So answer number 37 is alpha. 38, traditional cost systems distort product costs because uh, which is your answer, class? It's not letter A. It's not because we do not know. It's simply we do not do it. Uh, the answer is, this is the better application of the peanut butter because you apply average support cost to each unit of product, regardless of whether or not those support costs are applied to those products. So 38 is delta. 39, which of the following statements about activity-based costing is not true? We're looking for a statement that is not true. Letter A, activity-based costing is useful for allocating marketing and distribution costs. Letter B, activity-based costing is more likely to result in major differences from traditional costing systems if the firm manufactures only one product rather than multiple products. This is letter B is not true. The benefit of activity-based costing can be highlighted, class, if you produce several products. Letter C, activity-based costing seeks to distinguish batch level, product sustaining, and facility sustaining cost, especially when they are not proportionate to one another. That's true. Activity-based costing differs from traditional costing systems in that products are not cross-subsidized. Because basically, cross-subsidized kasi is just your overcosting and your undercosting. Answer for number 39 is bravo. 40, activity-based costing can eliminate cost distortions because ABC develops cost drivers that have a cause and effect relationship with the activities performed. Answer for number 40 is alpha. 41, product lines that produce different variations often require specialized manufacturing activities that translate into fewer indirect costs, class? No. Decision to drop product variation? No, especially if it's profitable. A greater number of direct manufacturing labor cost allocation rates? No. Answer here would be greater overhead costs. Specialized products, you will have greater overhead cost. Answer for 41 is delta. 42, we will just end at 45. 42, activity-based costing is most likely to yield benefits for companies with all of the following characteristics except, what's your answer here? When will you be able to highlight the benefit provided by activity-based costing? If you produce numerous products that consume different amount of resources, definitely uh, the benefit of activity-based costing would be felt, class. If your operations remain fairly consistent, then definitely you will not see significant differences, class, when using traditional and activity-based costing. So answer for number 42 is bravo. 43, each of the following statements is true except we're looking for the false statement. Traditional product costing systems seek to assign all manufacturing costs to products. Yes. ABC product costing systems seek to assign all manufacturing costs to products. Uh, yes. Traditional product costing systems are more refined than an ABC system. Nothing is more obvious, class. Answer for number 43 is Charlie. 44, the most likely example of an output unit level cost is output unit level. Output unit level cost. Uh, General administrative cost, paying suppliers for orders received, engineering cost. Again, A, B, and C are very broad uh, costs, class. Uh, it would be very difficult for you to uh, trace them to a particular unit. However, for machine depreciation, of course, only those products that uh, uses the machine. So the best answer for 44 is delta. 45, the most likely example of a batch level cost. Batch level. Machine repairs, no. Best answer, class, for every batch is your setup cost, class. Answer for 45 is delta. Let's include 46 na lang, class. Design costs are an example of product sustaining cost. While 47, what costs support the organization as a whole? This would be your facility sustain. Let's include 48 na lang sad. It is usually difficult to find good cause and effect relationships between blank and a cost allocation base. This would be facility sustaining costs. Let's end here. I'm not feeling well. I'll see you on Wednesday.